All right. Hello. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for joining us for another episode of LearnBiz, the podcast. I'm Sandy B. Law, and I'm here with the lovely Lisa K. Happy Valentine's Day, Lisa.
Happy Valentine's Day, lovely Sandy B. Law. It's so great to be here on Valentine's Day with you.
It is absolutely a blast, and I am excited about what today is going to bring because we're going to talk about something that's important to both of us, which is good Lord, can your business survive without you? And I,
Exactly.
and I know you and I have answered this question many a time because being an entrepreneur is a very different experience. So we're going to dive into that, but before we get into that, happy Valentine's Day to all those who are in love, hoping to be in love with love. My
Mhm.
only advice to you today is save your money. Stop spending money on frivolous stuff. You can show people you love them without breaking the bank because your business can't survive without you right now.
That's right. But if you know that someone won't believe it's Valentine's Day unless they get chocolates and candies and wine, do it.
Look, you better go to the Dollar Tree and get that chocolate and that wine. This economy is not for the fruitless.
Wait, we're not talking about Godiva chocolates.
You better find the Godiva at the clearance aisle before. Good morning, Rigo. Happy Valentine's Day to you. Thank you so much. Rigoberto joining us this morning.
Yes, Mr. Rigoberto Morales, we appreciate you as always. Happy Valentine's Day.
So I have a gift that you can give. Give the gift of journaling. It is Valentine's Day. Show the one that you love to love journaling for their business. It is the best thing that someone can do for their business to really have some self accountability, collectively show some accountability. That's
Yeah.
what Lisa and I have been doing with each other is, talking about the things that we're doing and, keeping up with each other. Like, hey, you keeping up with your journal? We
Yeah.
making sure, you're doing your journaling every day.
We really
Um,
do check in with each other on this.
So, the Learn Biz Entrepreneur Journal is now available on Amazon. It is a small price to pay for a huge investment of 365 days of keeping yourself connected, a daily touch so that you can learn, build, and grow a sustainable and a thriving business, something that you can scale. So I'm looking forward to, sharing more stories with you guys because we have an upcoming session coming on the 27th, I believe.
Yes.
So
Right
if
around the
you are
corner.
if you are part of our journaling tribe and you have purchased your journal, please don't hesitate to join us. We have a private session. It's happening here on YouTube, but you just need to contact us so that you can get the link to join us. But it will be a private business journaling group session. Very short sessions. We try to keep it no more than about 30 minutes, but just an opportunity for us to share and engage with one another. And we can also give you some tips on how to best use your journal.
Absolutely. It will be fun because we can discuss some of our entries together and
Yes.
talk about some of the things that we go through in common as entrepreneurs. So I think it's really great. Dr. Kristen Guillory was on our show a couple weeks ago, and she said one of the things she would recommend is that all entrepreneurs become a part of a mastermind or,
Yes.
at least get a coach. I really can appreciate what she said today. Thinking about it today, I can really appreciate that. I haven't always felt that way, but today I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I find that there's a lot that you can receive from collective thought. And what a mastermind is in essence is you gathering with, like-minded folks for common purpose. And, I participate in a mastermind group called Rise Mastermind. And one thing that I know the group has helped me with is learning to step outside of myself. So this topic is very timely when we're going to talk about can your business survive without you. A lot of our conversation in mastermind has been about how we can be successful with the business without breaking ourselves down in the process,
Yeah.
tapping into resources, technology, tapping into our networks and the other people that may make a create a part of our team. So a mastermind is great. Groups are great. People have a lot of Facebook groups and other collectives. Definitely recommend it.
Yep. So, so you guys make sure you check out the journal as Sandy just stated. It's on Amazon, and let us know when you get it, and definitely join up with us on the 27th for our journaling group.
Yep, we'll be on here at 8 p.m. Check us out for the link. Okay, so for the topic at hand, can your business survive without you? And I think for context, we have to say that when it comes to business, there's two aspects, right? So it's not just I have a business and I'm just running it and I'm like a hamster running on the wheel, or I'm like the horse, that's being slapped off, and I'm being pushed to do work every day, grinding, breaking myself down. It's, do you look at your business as an operation separate from you that you are overseeing? Do you look at your business as something that you are like you're almost like a slave to it, right? Do you look at yourself as you are the one that's responsible for all things? Are you in the middle? Do you have kind of a little bit of both? And are you able to separate those roles so that you can make sure that your business is productive? Those are some questions that you have to ask yourself.
Yeah, I would say that, most entrepreneurs are right smack dab in the middle of their business. They are everything to their business. They are the reason why their businesses run. And so, it's entrepreneur centered. I think most businesses are, at least starting off that way. But however, I think we do have to grow to that level where, like what we're talking about today, having your business run without you physically being there to do so.
Right. And some of the things that you have to consider in this realm is, you know, when it comes to your day-to-day operation, what are the things that you do versus what are the things that are automated and what are the things that you outsource or contract to get done? Because if when you think about the stuff that you do in your day-to-day work and all of it is tied to you, that means that you're decreasing your value in the business, because you have to think of it from this perspective. If you look at an average business operation, there should be workers, there should be overseers, there should be things that are done at one level versus things that are done at another level. And
Hmm.
it's not so much about separation of skills as it is separation of talents, right? Because you're
Hmm.
going to have people that have talents in different realms. You're going to have people that may be purely administrative, that may be able to handle things that just have to do with maybe communications in your business or paperwork in your business or how paper moves. But
Yep.
then you're going to have somebody that directs how that's going to work. Somebody that's going to look at the whole operation and say, well, how does business flow from the community to you, the worker, or how does business flow straight through from start to finish? And what does that look like? Most of us don't see the process big picture. We just get up every day and we go to work, just like if we were working a 9 to 5, right? Like
Hmm.
if I had a 9 to 5 job, I go to work, I work the whole day, and then I go home. And it's like every day is, kind of like we do the same thing. Well, in your business, if you were to do this process in the same way every day, you're going to stay in the same place every day, because entrepreneurship requires way more than just I show up and then I stop. You
Yeah,
can't do that.
that is so true. Like, for instance, my career as in real estate, as a realtor, I mean, I'm it. I am that business. And
Yeah.
so I have to go talk to people, not have to, I get to go talk to people and make listing presentations and help them buy and sell real estate. So I have to be there. Now, how do I do that business without being there? The only way I can do that is get people to join me. So if I formed a real estate brokerage team and there were people that will handle certain intake and certain appointments and maybe handle showing, different, like you said, different layers to the business.
Yeah.
That is the way we have to think about growing. There's no way if my volume tripled, I'd be in trouble already. 'Cause
That is
you
facts.
gotta have a team, and you gotta think about, "What if I can't handle my business? What would I need to do to be able to catch all that business?" That's how our minds have to think now when we're not even there, and prepare toward getting there.
Absolutely. Good morning, Doug. And again, happy Valentine's Day. Always appreciate the
Good
love
morning.
on the day of love.
Yes, I
Oh,
just
Doug said he
love
got his
love.
journal. Thank you,
Oh,
Doug.
Doug is in the house.
Well, Doug, you
Yes.
definitely got to join us on Monday night, the 27th. We're going to do a brief business journaling session. We're going to talk a little bit, share some thoughts, ideas. So we definitely would love for you to join us on that day. Um, so I'm going to take your example, Lisa, with the real estate, because one of the things that we sometimes need to tap into is the little ways that we can slightly shift how we're doing, the business. You're welcome, Doug. We thank you so much. So
Absolutely.
on the real estate front, for example, let's say, for example, you have a sale and your sale is completed. Then it has to be one of those, and I'm going to say real estate, I'm going to say law, I'm going to say, any business. Let's say that you are making some money, right? You have some
Mhm.
money coming in. The question is, what's your budget with that money? Now, most of us, money come in, money go out. there's no there's no breakdown, there's no separation. But we have to have a system in place where when we get paid, that we have a budget. And that budget typically has to include, first of all, the operation expense, right? And
Right.
operation expense is typically going to include our pay if we're paying ourselves from the business. So the
Yep.
operation expense is one.
Yep.
But what about savings? You got to have a little tiny pocket, right? You got to have something for savings. And then what about the pocket for scaling, growth,
We're supposed to be saving
outsourcing?
20%. We're
You
supposed
should.
to be saving 20% of our income on an annual basis.
You,
Period, people,
you should.
period.
And even if you didn't give yourself a number, you got to have something, right? There has
Some
to be.
number.
When I first started my law practice, I remember we had a system where it was like everything was divided, I think by like 3 or 4. So if money came in, it was like half of it went to operating expense, a third of it went to savings, and a third of it went to what is it called? I think it was like a pocket of expenses, things that we needed to spend on that were not regular day-to-day expenses, right? So think of things like your tax returns. You don't always know how much those are going to cost for the business. Think about things like licenses, conferences that you may need to go to, different miscellaneous expenses that you don't always know the exact amount of, but they're coming. And so you want to put a little something aside so that when it comes, you're not like, oh man, I'm scratching my head trying to figure out where it comes from. So I think one of the best ways to help your business survive without you is to start a path to separation so that you have a way of automating, outsourcing, contracting, whatever you want to call it, but finding a way that you're not doing everything. So if I'm getting leads for my business, well, maybe I can get someone to take those leads for me at a nominal cost, right? You can pay someone 10, 15, $20 an hour to do certain administrative things and, give yourself a cap.
Wait, Sandy, I gotta push back just a little bit because, I was in a mindset for a long time where I felt like I had to do everything. Like I need that $15 an hour that I could be paying someone.
Yeah.
I felt like I needed that for my business and for the things I needed. Like I didn't feel like I had that room,
Yeah.
but that's a mindset trap. Like
Correct.
we have to understand that when we don't think that we can do these things, we really can. We just have to find the path to get it done. So I just wanted to say that because I think some people get trapped into thinking like, oh, I can't afford to do that. I can't afford to hire someone.
Right.
But you gave this example one time before. If you're making, let's say, $100 an hour, or you make $100 on a sale, then you can possibly designate some portion of the profit to put aside toward getting some help with some aspect of your business.
Right.
We have to learn to start thinking of it differently. I just wanted to throw that in.
And I love that you said it. Just taking $100 as an example. If I make a few $100s a week and I just took away $10 from that every time I made $100, I would have 10 and 10 and 10 and 10, that could pay somebody to do something, right? If the number is 15, or if it's $20 an hour, whatever it is, it's we have to get to the point of saying, how much is my time worth versus how much are some of these other tasks worth, right? Especially as lawyers, many of us, our hourly rates are in excess of 200 and 300 and 400 an hour. So if you have an hourly rate that's several $100s an hour and you're doing work that should be $15 an hour, you're using up a lot of your time and energy.
Right. Pay somebody.
Pay somebody. So if your hourly rate is $350, take that $50 off and put it aside. That's an hour of somebody's work somewhere, maybe 2 hours, maybe three.
Yep.
So these are the little things that it's like, can your business survive without you? Yes, it can. Now, is it going to survive totally without you? Probably not, unless you've completely separated yourself to the point of having some kind of operations manager or office manager, or somebody who's like the director of, whatever it is, and they're reporting to you. But of course, that's with many, layers to the business, or a very defined business with very defined roles. But if you are a startup, you have to, from inception, come up with ways to prepare to scale. And it's the little items. It's the putting a few dollars aside. It's the, maybe I can take on an intern. They might need some school credit or something like that. I've done that in the past, and it's been helpful to me. It's not a lot of work a lot of the time. Sometimes it's a little more work on me. But imagine, giving back to a college student, a high school student, a law student, a student of another school or program, and they might need credit and you might need help. So sometimes those types of arrangements do work. Also, sometimes you can just take on somebody for a period of time, some temp work, right?
Yeah.
I may have a couple $100s, and I may want to hire somebody for a month. That month could make a world of difference. And maybe by the time they're done with that month, we've made enough money that, hey, maybe I can keep you on for another month. So
that's how that works. And you'll be surprised, because you'll find that you'll be more freed up and more productive to do things, to go out there and make money versus working in the grind of the business. And
yes,
I don't mean to be negative about that, but there's just different aspects. We always talk about working in the business versus working on the business. Two
yes.
different things.
Yes, and I'm a firm believer that if you don't have something of a balance, because it's not going to be 50-50, but if you don't have something of a balance, much like if you're in a relationship, if you don't have something of a balance, things are not going to go your way. You're really going to find yourself with some overwhelm. You're going to be stressed. Any of the folks that you're working with, including your clients or your customers or your leads, they're going to be stressed. So you have to find some ways. So, I don't want to keep us in the doom and gloom. So let's talk about some of the creative things that you can do to help your business survive without you. So, keep in mind as we're talking about this, if you have some thoughts about, whether your business can survive without you, drop your thoughts in the comments. We definitely appreciate your engagement. But can your business survive without you? The answer is yes, to a degree, but it depends. Do you have systems in place? And I don't mean machines. I don't mean software. I don't necessarily mean people. Do you have systems in place? Do you have what's called standard operating procedures? Lisa's talked about this quite a few times.
Oh, yeah. Very important to have standard operating procedures. And let me tell you how you get those in your business. When something happens and you make a rule that this is how our business is going to run and this is how we're going to do this, write it down. Write it down and put it in a book, so that if anyone comes in and works for you, they know all the rules and they're all written down in a book called Standard Operating Procedures, SOPs. That is a very important thing to do. It can talk about how you would deal with emergency circumstances. If someone doesn't show up for work, what you're supposed to do to, keep things going or what have you. And Sandy, I know we're talking about that, but I hope we get to also transition into some of those other documents like operating agreements and the bylaws, for your corporation.
Yeah, we can definitely transition there. What I want to do briefly is talk about some mistakes. I was reading an article yesterday, slightly, that was talking about the 10 biggest mistakes that estate planning attorneys make running their business. And I started to look at the list and I was like, this is not just estate planning attorneys. This is entrepreneurs. These are mistakes that we make because we're not seeing ourselves working, like you said, Lisa, on the business. We're only seeing ourselves just working physically in the business. There's no separation. So just to give you just a couple of his mistakes as an example, one of the mistakes was not thinking of your practice as a business. Well, think about our entrepreneurship. Many of us start something and we look at it as like a side hustle, or we might look at it as, I'm just doing a little something, I'm just selling a little something, or I'm not offering a little something. We don't look at our business, right, as an operation, as something that is to be seen in a different way.
Right.
We think lightly of the work that we do, and we don't recognize sometimes that we need to monetize, we need to charge for our time, we need to respect our time and our effort and our energy, and respect our talents and skills, and not be swayed by people who don't have a belief in what we're doing,
True.
right? Those are
True.
things that we mess up with. Another mistake: failing to set financial goals and accountability for those financial goals. How many of us actually say, all right, this month I want to make this amount of money. This week I need to make this. I need to reach out to this many leads over this next 30 days. I need to go to this many events. I need to have this going on at least once a week. I need to speak to this many people in this window of time. How many of us do that?
We should.
We should, on a regular, ongoing basis. And I find that whenever I stray away from that, because I'm one of those people, I do that. I'm like, okay, I need, 3 guardianships for this month. I need a estate planning. I need to have 5 consults. I need to do 1 presentation each week. I need to tap a church so that I can do something for next month. I do that. When I don't do that, I find that my results are very negative. Like January was a good month for me
Mhm.
because I set a goal and I literally was just shy of it. I think I hit my goal by about I think it was like 90% of my goal. I was almost there.
That's
Literally,
awesome.
I could taste it, and it was just like that one lead that didn't come through.
Mhm.
But why was I close? Because I had it in mind. It was at my forefront, and I said to myself, this month I need to. And in February, I'm already behind because I haven't said what my thing needs to be this month. Now I know overall what I want to do for the year, and every month I have a goal of what I want to make. But in order to do that, that goal has to be put into action. What do you
So
think about
true.
that, Lisa?
I love it. I love goal setting in business. I think it's very important, and I do that as well. And then sometimes once you set those goals, like Sandy's saying, you can't just sit back and say, "Okay, phone, go ahead and ring now. I'm
I
gonna
like
wait
that.
for you. I'm gonna wait all day if I have to." No, you have to actually get out there and make it happen. And I think that's the difference. Sandy set a goal, but I do not think she sat around twiddling her thumbs after she set those goals. She worked on making those numbers come to fruition. And so that's what we have to do. It might be, like you said, getting out there, networking, picking up the phone, talking to people. Is there
Yeah,
anything else I can help you with? I want to let you know we have other services. This is what else we offer to the public. So having those conversations generates that. Some business entrepreneurs think of it as begging when you're, talking to people about what you do. But if you have a valuable service, don't you think it's valuable enough to continuously let people know that you have value and that you can help? Look at it that way.
yeah, and it's absolute truth. I sometimes think to myself, why don't we see the power of putting things out into the atmosphere? Um, Something as simple as reminding people what you do, talking to people about what you have going on.
Yeah, I'm
I
very
was talking,
guilty of that. Very
talking to
guilty.
people about what you have going on because,
Yeah.
for example, Lisa and I have this journal, right? I remember one day we were at I think we were at Ross or something. I don't remember what store we were, TJ Maxx, one of those. And we were talking to the cashier. And it was like, we had our journal that day for whatever reason. I think we were meeting up to do something. And it was like, we were talking to the cashier about our journal and about our
Yep.
podcast. And we're like, you should, tune into our podcast.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Wherever you go, you have to be a walking billboard in that sense. But you should be proud of what you do or what service you have. So just think of it that way. If it's valuable enough for you to work in it and on it, it's valuable enough for others to know about it and to be able to help them too.
absolutely. I'll touch on a couple of other things. Failure to hire, staff. Sometimes we are at the point where we need to at least consider it and maybe take a step forward in that direction, or set up a goal to say, okay, I want to hire somebody. How much would I need? How much do I need to set aside for this? If we don't do that, we're not going to be able to really manage through. And then not having a definitive marketing plan. Many of us kind of go through the motions, and it's really hard for us to understand what marketing is. Marketing is just ongoing, letting people know what you do, how you do it, and how they can reach you to get it.
I
Like, it's
love that. What you do, say that again, please.
what you do, how you do it, and what what they need to do to get it.
Hey, I like it.
So,
I like it.
but we don't think of it as something that we need to have a plan about, right? We need to figure out how to put ourselves in front of people. Now, we have decided on one piece of our marketing plan, which is doing this podcast has been a really great thing. And we've started to see some little trickle in the numbers, and we've started to really talk to folks about what we're doing. And the journal has helped a lot too, of driving some people and sharing this, entrepreneur journey and entrepreneur mindset and all of the things that we love to talk about. But if we never talk to people about it, how would people know?
Exactly.
Technology is one thing, but really tapping in is another. So it's a lot of little things that we need to do to make sure that our business can survive without us. Calendaring. I suffer a lot with calendaring. Sometimes I've made some really colossal errors where I forget to calendar something because, we can't get stuff done without doing it. I know Lisa and I have talked about different things that we're trying to do. So, for example, we have an event coming up. I, for the life of me, can't remember the name of the event right now. Hold on. We have an event.
We're talking about business succession planning, and
Yes,
in effect, I'll get the title here in a moment.
absolutely. So I'm sorry, I just had a gap in my brain.
That's all
So
right.
we have an event coming up, right? So once we drop that information, the goal is to make sure every single person knows, like every person that potentially watches our podcast, every person that we come in contact with, our friends, our colleagues, and things like that. Because if we're doing a virtual event, it's real simple to really get the information out there and let folks know and let folks join us. But the hard task is setting a regular goal to make sure that we're hitting some marks, right? Because you got to invite so many people to really get people to attend, right? You can't invite 5 people and expect all 5 to show up. You got to invite everybody that you can think of. And then within the pocket of all of those people, there's going to form a group that will be like, look, that's important to me, right? So we're definitely going to be talking about business succession planning this month in particular. Sorry, go ahead,
Here's the
Lisa.
name. Sorry, I just want to get that out. It is called Creating a Legacy Through Entrepreneurship, Business Succession Planning Basics.
Yes. And the motivation behind this event was, it's Black History Month. And, a lot of times people do a lot of events catered to the month. But this is really not just catered to the month. It's catered to entrepreneurship, period. Because many times people see legacy building as just you work a job and you leave some money or you leave some life insurance. Well, what about business? How many businesses do we know right now that have been around for decades, right?
True.
Somebody started a business and they left that business as a legacy for their family or a legacy for another family to carry on, because legacy doesn't just mean I'm leaving for family. It
Right.
could be that I have some employees and somebody's going to step forward and become the CEO of my business. And then I'm going to step away,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. That kind of thing has happened where CEOs of companies have died and some faithful servant employee ends up running the company
Right.
because of their commitment. Those things have happened.
So we have to look at these things from different perspectives, but it's also understanding that just like we encourage people to organize their affairs and have their estate planning in order, having a will, having a trust, a power of attorney, healthcare documents, deeds, all those things, we also encourage folks to look at their business as something that needs to be protected. And in order for you to do that, you have to have a succession plan. It's the transition of your business, right? What is going to happen to your business when something happens to you, or when you're no longer wanting to do the business, or when you're ready to transition? What is the succession plan? Who is going to be your successor? Who is going to step in and continue the operation? Because ideally, starting a business shouldn't end with you. It should be carried on so that the business can grow and build. And, that's why you have franchises and different locations and things like that. So it's something that we want you guys to think about, because it's at its core. Does your business survive without you?
Right. That's what it comes down to. So on February 28th, so Sandy, we have something February 27th, and we also have something February 28th.
Correct.
On February 28th at 7:00 p.m., we are having the business succession planning, creating a legacy through entrepreneurship. So we're having that seminar, so to speak, online, and we're going to talk about ways you can strengthen and protect your business with certain legal documents. We'll talk about what those business documents are that people typically rely on, such as an operating agreement, or if you're a corporation, corporate bylaws. But what type of things that you might want to anticipate to protect your business. So we'll get more into that on the 28th at 7 p.m. Please join us for that.
So it's important for us to recognize, as we start to wind this conversation down, that, the answer to this question, can your business survive without you, is a very personal one. But that personal response is based on a lot of things that we all as business owners need to consider. What are the things that you are doing to establish a foundation in your business that goes beyond what you put in? What are we doing to make sure that we have someone in position in the event that we can't operate our business? What are we doing to make sure that our family or the ones that we love are in position to handle some things if something happens to us? And I shouldn't even say if, I should say when, because things happen all the time, right? How many times have you heard a story, somebody passes away and they had a business?
Oh, yeah.
And when they pass away, the family's looking like, I don't want to do nothing with that. And then the business closes.
Yep, because no one's in place to take it over or do anything.
Right. And no one is aware of how the business operates and what things need to be done. And we're all guilty of this to some degree, right? We have things that we do in our business that no one really understands. As attorneys, they have something called an inventory attorney. We're supposed to have an attorney in position to address our business in the event that something happens to us. Now, I have that in theory, but of course, there's a deeper level, right? There are some things that people need to know about your business in order to be able to step in to make sure that your business is not completely lost. So,
right. So we have to think about all of those things. So join us, guys, on the 27th, once again, for the LearnBiz Entrepreneur Journal group meet. That's here on YouTube. We will be private on that date. Is that correct, Sandy?
Yes, we will. So please send us a message. You can email us. You can DM us on Instagram at B is for Biz. You can message us on TikTok at B is for Biz. We're also on Facebook at B is for Biz. But send us a message or shoot us an email so you can join our private journaling group. For those of you that are already followers of us, you'll get a private message anyway on either Instagram or any of the other platforms that you share information with us on. So look out for that. And, don't hesitate to join us for our Creating a Legacy Through Entrepreneurship Business Succession Planning Basics on the 28th at 7 p.m.
Yes, we're really looking forward to those things. And Sandy, just in case someone doesn't know, why don't you tell us about what you do every day in business as an entrepreneur?
I stress out and people drive me crazy because I have these wacko cases that come to me because people don't want to organize their affairs. No.
Oh boy.
Um, so I'm an estate planning attorney by nature, I guess I would say. And I handle estate planning, probate, and guardianship, which means when someone passes away, number one, I can assist them with, wrapping up those final affairs, getting access to, monies in the bank, real estate, etc. If somebody becomes unable to manage their health care or their financial care or their anything, their personal well-being, I help families through the guardianship process. I do tend to work a lot with autism families because once children turn 18 and they're autistic, they're going to need a guardian if they can't basically function independently. They will need a guardian to help them. And then lastly, the estate planning piece, I try to get people to build their legacy. It's your legacy, your plan. So I help you craft something that is comprehensive and protects you, your loved ones, and whoever it is that you might want to leave something for the next generation.
All right. And she's one half of the brainchild for LearnBiz LLC, which produces LearnBiz the podcast. Thank you very much.
Oh, yes. And in addition to being fantastical here in the LearnBiz space, I just have a book project that just dropped with my other little leg. Civility Wins is a company that I started with a colleague of mine because we were frustrated with some of the things that were going on when it comes to professionalism and ethics and civility in the legal profession. So we wrote a book called Civility Wins, Find Your Peace While Taming the Beast, which is now on Amazon. And we are doing our book kickoff tour starting March 15th. So we have a continuing legal education event where people can get their legal credits as lawyers on the 15th of March. It's going to be the kickoff for our book tour.
I'm so excited. Congratulations on becoming a published author. That's really great. And I'd love to book you on LearnBiz the podcast with your partner so we can interview you as a book author.
Hey, we're going to come back because I think we came on to talk about something different. I think so. Or maybe we just interviewed Kristen. I don't remember. But definitely, we would love to come by and have a conversation about civility, professionalism, ethics. There's a lot to talk about, child.
So we'll get that schedule, guys. We'll get Sandy in here as a guest, a book author, entrepreneur. Thank you very much. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, now wait till Lisa. Hey, now wait till Lisa tells you about her.
What's that?
Now you're gonna have to do the breakdown and tell us about you, Lisa.
About me? Yes. Let me get back on track. I'm so excited about your book. Okay. I'm Lisa K. Crawford, guys. I am a real estate broker associate here in Florida, licensed in Florida, but I can help you anywhere around the world. I'm connected with realtors everywhere. So you can always start for me for real estate help at 954-864-8950. In addition to that, I also am a active working attorney. I also work in probate and estate administration. So I help people who have to go to court to get property transferred when someone dies. I also help people prepare their own documents to try to stay out of probate court. So I have that in common with Sandy, as well as being a part of LearnBiz LLC, which produces this podcast and the journal. And stay tuned for some other publications that we will be working on for this calendar year. Thank you, guys.
Absolutely. Shout out to Doug. Always appreciate you for continuing to support us in this process.
We want y'all to shout out what y'all do. Don't forget, go on ahead, put it out there. Prop yourself. What you do in business. Let people know we're here.
Yeah, show some love for your business. That's going to be our post for today. Show some love for
your own business.
Yes, indeed. So guys, we're always pleased with the opportunity to share with you on these mornings. It's real exciting.
It is my shine live.
Lord of mercy. Happy Valentine's Day. The messy is in the building. Let's see where we can find these kids and some of their mamas, the good mamas.
Right. And stop these mamas from moving into people's abandoned homes.
Look, I was so dying the other day. My Sean was doing, I think this week she's been doing commenting on comments. And I'm just like, so people actually take the time out of their day to write these long biography comments under my Sean's post. And I'm like, dang, talk about showing love for a business. I mean, drop them comments, y'all, because you are literally giving my Sean more content. I'm like, I don't think people understand this. Like, why are you commenting these long posts? You're so upset with what she's saying. Why don't you just create your own YouTube channel and just talk about it? Like, what in the world? But showing some love. Happy Valentine's Day to you, Miss Messy My Sean, aka My Sean Denise. We appreciate you always in this space, and we thank you for tuning in. We're just wrapping up talking about, can your business survive without you? And honestly, man, it's a daily process. But with people giving you constant contact, yeah, your business is gonna keep surviving.
Well, Messy My Shine, her business cannot, I repeat, it cannot survive without her. She must be there. Yes, that's one lady. She's just gonna have to take a vacation and come on back.
Let me tell you something. Every time I tune in, it's just like always much entertainment. I don't know what's wrong with people out here, but you all are definitely creating a whole lane of conversation. And I don't think they understand. I really don't think they understand, but it is what it is, y'all. But before we close out, I wanted to comment on something. I know it's not about, can your business survive without you? My Sean says I gotta have a plan when I go on vacation. Yeah, we're gonna need you to pre-record content or something before you go.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
So I wanted to just touch on, the halftime show. Did you see the halftime show with Rihanna the other day?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. I was like,
enjoyed it.
talk about your business surviving without you. Rihanna got Fenty Beauty, Savage X Fenty. She got her music business, which obviously, I mean, her hits, I'm sure, are going to last beyond her. She got this whole, line of programs and events and things that she does, and these productions that she does. And has not, I don't think Rihanna's put out an album in quite a number of years.
Yeah,
So to
that
do
stuff
this,
that was old stuff she was singing, but hey, people love it.
man, shout out to Riri for real. Like it was just a really interesting, like I truly enjoyed every song. And it's like, I was telling somebody who was like, I didn't really care for it too much. Like it was okay. But I was like, you would have to be a bit of a Rihanna fan to appreciate the way that she was able to mesh all of the music in that short period of time. I mean, a whole lot of hits from, I mean, all aspects of her career, and to be doing it while pregnant. And
She is
she
so
just had a baby
sharp.
and she's pregnant right now, and it's like, wow, can you imagine? Like
I
that's a
look
lot.
at Riri and I look at her face and, I think of that saying, "Ain't I a woman?" Because Lord, child, I mean, she was pregnant and she's beautiful and she's a beautiful Black woman. And, what I love is that, think about how big that stage platform is. She filled up the entire space of your television screen.
Right.
I mean, she didn't waste any space with her dancers, and she was way up in the air.
Yes. And I feel like one of the things that touches on our topic for today is the fact that, think of Riri as a business, right? Does the business survive without her? Absolutely. Why? Because she has teams of people to deal with some of the, nuance. She's involved in the process, but imagine if she was the one to do it all. What would that look like? Like, what would that show have looked like if it was just her? If she didn't have
A
folks
team.
to
Yeah.
support the movement.
Come
And
on.
and those are examples. People sometimes look at celebrities and like, they got money, they got whatever. But you have to think of it from a big picture perspective, right? They had to start somewhere. They had to start somewhere. And eventually they had to tap into the next level and the next level and the next level, because Rihanna could have stopped at music. She could
She
have. She
could
could have just
have.
stopped at music.
Yeah.
But she went from music into beauty. Well, I don't know if beauty came right after, but she went from music to kind of like artistic creative expression. So she would do some of these like shows and the photography and all that. And she went from the music that she was doing early on to music that transcended different groups and cultures. Right. So she would
Yeah.
tap into the R&B lane, but she would also tap into the pop lane, and she would tap into the dance and the rave and the, all of these different things. And it's
Mhm.
like, okay, she could have stopped there too. But then she went into the Fenty Beauty lane. She could have stopped there. Then she went into the Savage. She could have stopped there. But why is she able to transcend, right? Because the business survives without her.
Her image is out there. It's a part of everything that is being done.
Right.
So technically, her stuff can stand on its own because her image is solid now.
Correct. And that's the thing that we all should aim for. Obviously, we may not, some of us may not attain these high levels when it comes to the money. We may not be a billionaire or a millionaire, but we can scale to a level where there is a level of productivity that makes sense for us, right? That gives us the level of freedom that we want. One thing that I learned when I was out of the country for that month-long craziness that I was doing was that my business could survive without me to a degree, but I had a lot of gaps because there were a couple of things that I missed. And I was like, oh, snap. How did I miss that? Why? Because I didn't have a lock solid system of who was monitoring the emails and who was, checking on the voicemails. And so like I was relying on myself to do certain things. And you're going to miss things in the midst of it. You can try, but you're going to miss things. And so, we really encourage you guys to, shout out to Riri. Do it like Riri. Think about those things and the levels that we can attain. And you can think of any of these celebrities. They can't do it without some kind of system, standard process.
People on their team. She employed a lot of dancers for that event. She made all of those dancers' lives memorable from that point forward. I mean, that's on their resume now. So, so you can bless so many people when you scale and put it on that level, and we can get there. You're right, Sandy. Riri is a great example of scaling to the next level, to the next level, to the next level.
Absolutely. So in closing, because we've been trying to close for a moment, can your business survive without you? The answer is an absolute yes. But that yes comes with a disclaimer. There are things that you need to put into play, right? You need to figure out what is the standard procedure of your business. How does your business flow? And what makes your business tick? And once you can identify that, you need to map it out in a way that someone else can take that map and follow it. So that might involve writing things down or recording things or whatever it is that works best for you. But there has to be a point in time where you can step away from certain aspects, right? Not everything, right? If you're the voice of your business, obviously we need your voice, but we don't need you to do the voice, the planning, the scheduling, the calendaring, the appointments, the guests, there's
the marketing, the finances. Yeah, get some other folks in place so you can concentrate on the part that people really love you for, right?
Yes, ma'am. Always be marketing. Always take advantage of opportunity to share information about your business. You never know who's listening. You never know who may be able to connect with you. And then last thing is be prepared for the opportunities. If you're not prepared, opportunities are always going to come. But if somebody contacts you today and said, hey, I'm considering you for this particular project, send me your resume. Well, what if you don't have a resume ready?
Oh boy.
Hey, I want to get you on my show to do blah, blah, blah. Send me your bio. Well, I ain't got no bio. If you don't got a bio, like what are you doing? Like people need to know certain aspects of what you do. And you have to always be marketing and always be prepared for the opportunities because they're going to come, but they're not going to come to you specifically if you're not ready to receive them.
Facts.
All right, we dropped the mic there.
Okay, amen, hallelujah. Let the LearnBiz church say amen.
All right, guys, so please don't forget to grab your LearnBiz Entrepreneur Journal, a daily touch. We have our business journaling group on Monday, the 27th. I think it's at 7 or 8. I forgot. I'll look on the channel. And then we have the Creating a Legacy Through Entrepreneurship, which is a virtual event. We're going to be talking about business succession planning basics. Tune in Tuesday, the 28th. We look forward to catching up with you guys. Have a great one. Thank you so much. Shout out to you, my Sean Denise. We always appreciate your presence here. Doug, Rigo, all the folks that watch the replays. Thank you guys. Have a good one.
Y'all. We just love.
Happy Valentine's Day.
See you guys.
Bye, guys.